What's up, everybody? It's the Pastor with No Answers podcast. Joey Svendsen, your host, and I'm excited to bring a lot of fun to your ears right now because we have the one and only Derek Minor. Happy to have my friend on here to update us on how his life is going in this virus-infiltrated world. But I'm also excited for you to hear his take on hip-hop. Yes, sir, we have a little bit of confusion, me and my two co-hosts, Natalie and John, as consumers of hip-hop. And so I wanted to bring in a creator of hip-hop to straighten us out on just the foundation of hip-hop, where hip-hop artists are coming from, how they're learning just like all of us. Hey, if you want to contribute to this podcast, in addition to being a listener, you can go to patreon.com/PWNApod. Go to iTunes, leave us a rating. We would love that as well. So I want to give one little shout out, and I'm doing this. I ain't getting paid a dime. I'm doing this because I like this guy. His name is Scott Shea. Scott Shea. He was on an episode number 214, actually. Author Scott A. Shea explores most common atheist critiques of the Bible. He's a Jewish man, brings some insight on the Holocaust and just God in general, and is a very fun guy to listen to. Well, he is having an upcoming seminar that you can get information on at scottshea.com/love thy neighbor. And we will have that in the show notes for you. So like I said, we will start this episode off with a little discussion between Natalie, John, myself on hip-hop music, as well as my take on the Super Bowl halftime show. And I kind of get smacked over the head by both John and Natalie, and that's all good. But after that, I had my friend Derek listen to our discussion on hip-hop, and he's coming to bring some commentary. Love you guys. Enjoy this episode. So I keep a list of things when they come to me, and I'm like, it's funny. So now, since I've been podcasting since, I guess, 2015, I think there's a certain way podcasters think, because it's like you need stuff to talk about that's interesting and that you feel like you would be excited to talk about. So when something comes to you, I'm the sort of organizational freak where I go to my app, like some sort of to-do list, and go to podcasting, write down the subject sort of thing. And something that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time, in fact, I think it was on my list of things to talk about when I was with Bad Christian, just never got to it, is this. We have come such a long way as a society with the Me Too movement and with respecting women, and it's, uncalled for, and talking about women's body in public and just crazy stuff. And here's what's nuts is I watched The Wedding Singer, which I want to say came out in 98. So we're talking 22 years ago. And Priscilla and I could not believe, I guess I'll use the word, how inappropriate it was, like with just how horrible women were treated. And it was comedy. I mean, it was comedy. I mean, we're talking 20 years ago. It is crazy watching stuff with just how rapidly we have changed. And so my question to you guys, and it's kind of twofold, and it's I would say partially related, but one being is that we're all hip hop fans. And I have heard Jay-Z in a recent song basically recant his lyrics of the last couple of decades and how he talked about females, and I think even how he has treated females. And I believe that it's sincere, and I also believe, it seems like, well, that's something that you almost have to do in today's society if you want to be an artist that people listen to. But that doesn't seem to be the case in the hip-hop world, because I still listen to artists say stuff, and I'm like, if an actor was caught saying that and someone recorded it on their phone and put it on YouTube, their acting career would be done forever. And yet maybe it's just hip hop culture that's it's just accepted. I don't get it. I don't get that. And then the second thing that I don't understand is, and I didn't watch it a whole lot, and it wasn't like, oh, I'm not watching this disgusting stuff, but I did see some clips of the Super Bowl show, and I don't understand how, in one hand, society is saying treat women with respect and dignity and not just bodies that you go gaga over, and yet it seems like that's how the presentation and the singing and all that stuff, how those women were portrayed as, look at our bodies, and we're basically doing what strippers are doing. And it just I'm confused by it all. And maybe it's because it's still my conservative tendencies, and I think I'm giving Natalie a headache. And
you guys can't see what Natalie's doing right now. There's a lot of facial and
you're not mad at me, are you? Are you
No,
mad?
I'm not mad at you. I'm just like trying to relax because I do this thing where like I get real heaty and I talk real fast, and I'm like, Natalie, you're gonna wait your turn. And that's fine.
Hey, John, I'm gonna try to make Natalie snap. I'm gonna keep interrupting her.
There you go. There you go. Just tell her to calm down.
Oh
I'm sure
my God.
I'm sure it'll go
So,
over well.
so do y'all at least understand? Like, I'm not saying do you relate to my question. Y'all could both be thinking, "Wow, that's a dumbass," but do y'all understand what I'm saying at least?
I get what you're saying, fam.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. And,
Okay.
And I will say, just to, I'd like to take a crack at the hip hop first, if
Yeah.
I can, if I may. If I
This is
so
your house,
may.
baby. This is your house, man.
What's so interesting is I just had a similar conversation with Emily the other day. So like I'm in the office and we play hardcore unedited hip hop
Right.
in my very open air office with clients, no clients, like there are no F's given. Right. And
Yeah.
but I will say, I have a colleague who's very gay, just got married, awesome dude. And an old Chance the Rapper track came on, and he said the F word that I don't say.
Right.
It said like F slapper, ... and it used to be one of my favorite Chance the Rapper songs, and it didn't even register for me until I was like, holy I'm sitting like right next to Michael, and like how does that make him feel? Right.
Yeah.
And so I was texting my wife. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like I'm having this revelation that even that mixtape came out in like 2013. That wasn't that long ago, but people don't say that in hip hop anymore.
Yeah. I mean,
people don't use the F word in hip hop anymore.
Yeah. And
right?
John,
That
real
F
quick.
word.
And John, real quick, I think you're a big J. Cole fan. I mean, the first song
Cole
on
World.
Born Sinner in
on Born Sinner
2013 is just
Good night.
I mean,
Yes.
I don't understand why. Seriously, and I'm not saying this would be the right thing to do. I don't understand why people aren't going back to that song and saying, we're not listening to anything J. Cole has to say. Burn all your CDs. Like, I don't think that's the right thing to do, but that's what our culture does. So why does J. Cole get a pass?
Yeah. I think in hip hop in general, there's more lenience given in old lyrics. Like, look at Eminem's old lyrics.
Holy
Homophobia
God.
that are in there.
Yeah.
It's unreal, right? And that track, exactly. I put that on in the gym the other day, and I was like, oh my gosh. Goodness
I mean,
gracious.
it's like a bitch slap to gay people.
It's so, and then but then there's like this little quip at the end of that line, and he's like, says something that maybe he felt like redeemed him after saying all of those awful things. And I love J. Cole, and I think both him and Chance and Jay-Z sounds like it's like when they knew better, they did better, right? And like you stopped hearing that sort of stuff in their music. But I was texting my wife like real time as this happens, like, oh my God, I feel so uncomfortable. Like I feel like I should have done something. I can't believe how, Michael might feel about, that word over the loudspeaker in our office.
Right.
And she's like, how the hell do you feel about women in hip hop now? And I felt even worse that like that didn't make my radar. You know what I mean? It just didn't make and maybe it's because I was so used and I'm so inundated with that's like all I listen to is hip hop.
Right.
she's like, how do you think I feel when you play DaBaby?
Oh my gosh.
Because like his music is so bad.
John,
and
I
so
actually
sonically.
Yeah, I don't think it's his newest, but I think the one just one ago, and the first song to me is killer. The rest of it, I couldn't even give the music a chance because of how ridiculous. It's like I even have a line, and I was like, I can't listen to this guy. It's just off the charts.
No, I get it. I think I'm starting to understand a little bit more. But it's so interesting, like that homophobia was jarring to me. But speaking about women, the way that a lot of current hip hop artists do wasn't, and I don't know where the disconnect was there. But I can say for sure, like I'm not the only one, obviously, because that stuff is still played on the radio.
Right.
You know?
What's the woman think about this rap nonsense?
I think that there's a lot to be said with regards to hip hop culture, in its own container. It's no secret that like hip hop culture started off as like a very man heavy culture, and tends to be dominated by men. That being said, like womanizing is not a new thing for hip hop, and probably won't go away because it's so deeply embedded. I feel like at this point. And like it is a problem where like
it's not right.
So here's the thing is like a lot of women love hip hop but genuinely have like a hard time getting through shit when it's like, are we just gonna pretend he didn't say that? Are we just gonna move on? Like is that what's gonna happen because this song slaps, you know?
Right.
It's this weird thing where like hip hop is very important to people culturally, and a lot of people identify, you know, with that kind of culture, and it becomes really difficult when that is synonymous with like womanizing, right?
Yeah.
The same thing can be said about salsa music. Old salsa music is very much like insanely womanized.
Are you saying salsa?
Yeah.
Salsa?
Are you saying salsa? Yes.
I just heard
New
salsa.
York City.
Now, I think she was imitating a white boy. Are you saying salsa?
New York City.
Well, I say it because, so, like, I love hip-hop, but there is definitely, like, a realm of hip-hop that I will never understand because I'm not a black person in America, you know? And, like, I feel like that is so important culturally to those people, you know, can be, rather, because it tends to be a large, like, you know, a large thing in, like, quote-unquote urban areas or whatever. In any case, like, I relate that to myself. The tie that I feel like black Americans can and tend to have with hip-hop culture, like, as a whole, is the same that, like, Puerto Rican people have with salsa, because it's, like, literally stems from their folk and, like, the way that their culture, like, just evolves. And people still make, like, incredible salsa that has awful lyrics in it, or like that tends to be like very dismissive towards women. And there have been like, you know, things to thwart this. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever listened to Queen Latifah's song Unity. Like, that is her effort to thwart this entire attitude. Like, who you calling a bitch? You know what I mean? Like, that's her response to that in the community. There's always going to be that. In salsa, there's this woman named La India who does the same thing. But by and large, the larger voice is the male voice. You know what I mean? And, like, I think that it does cause a lot of dissonance for women who love hip-hop and women who love salsa and are constantly reminded that, like, you don't belong in this space or this space is dominated by a man. But I'm not at the point where I can confidently say that, like, I know what to do with that. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
I will say from a dude's perspective, and kind of becoming more aware of what's happening in hip hop again, because that's like all I listen to. I'm engrossed in that culture as a consumer.
Yeah.
I love seeing people like Cardi, Nicki kind of paved the way, but Megan Thee Stallion, Kamaya, like these strong women artists that are like taking their own narrative back.
Plug for Princess Nokia. Plug for Princess Nokia. All right.
Princess Nokia, you know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? But like taking that narrative and like especially I think of Megan Thee Stallion and even a lot of Cardi's lyrics too, but like being strong about their own sexuality, and from a place of strength and not from a place of like being an object, but strong. And I really, really appreciate that.
Let's take this as a transition.
Just what I was going to say.
Because I think there's a lot of things to be said about the Super Bowl. I think that the entire conversation is very silly. Because the people who we're talking about are women who are in charge of their own agendas and chose to do these things for themselves and chose to market themselves like this for a reason, because this is what they feel like they thrive in. This is how they feel like
we are not going to agree on this.
I know, but like there's layers to this, right? So like it's very much in the vein of what John said. I am presenting myself in this way because I feel like a strong, independent badass that can like not only like portray herself like this, but do this while being 50 years old. What are you going to tell me? Do you have anything to tell me? Because this is how I choose to present myself. On top of that, no one is talking about what actually mattered during the freaking halftime show, and that's the plug for PR and how
Bad Bunny.
First of all, how Bad Bunny is so bad and so great and got a wonderful plug, and so many people know about him now because of the Super Bowl, and he's such an integral like figure in Puerto Rican like culture right now because he is like so woke but also beautiful. There's so many things.
Can I
say one thing about Bad Bunny?
Yes.
Oh, sweet! I gotta check him out.
And specifically about the Super Bowl halftime show. He first of all, I love Bad Bunny. 100. But he straight up looked like he sold crack on the moon.
For
that
sure.
Super Bowl show.
That's where he lives.
So anyway,
that's
it.
100% where he lives. Yeah. He's a fashion icon. We stan. But on the side of that, when you're looking at like Jennifer Lopez had like, she had this like weird freaking like cover / flag thing that was on one side the American flag and on the other side the Puerto Rican flag, and she walked out to like I am an American or some shit like that, and I was like, this is incredible. Like the show as a whole was incredible, and it was so long and there's so many facets to it, but all anybody wants to talk about is how they look like strippers. Are you kidding me?
Including your co-host.
Man, it kills me.
Yeah, and I will say that I did not watch the show, and again, it's just because I never care about the halftime show. I think I took a shower or something like that. But go ahead.
I'm so sorry, really quick. The bit about Jennifer Lopez on a stripper pole, I think it is her trying to bring attention that she did do like prep work to be in a movie where she did play a stripper. So it like plugs her as an actress for this movie, but also shows that like, hey, I have this incredible body strength because I did this work. In addition to like, I am a bad bitch vibe. Right. So I'm just putting that out there.
So just for the record, I just don't think this way anymore. I don't think Jennifer Lopez is a bad person. I don't feel like I can judge her motives or anything. Here's as simple as I'll put it. How women were presented in the halftime show does not contribute well to what we are also trying to accomplish in our society by not seeing women as mere sex objects, because I'm sorry to inform everyone, but that is unfortunately how women are perceived too often, way too often. It's getting better and better and better, but that wasn't helpful. It's
not helpful that when someone chooses to self-fashion themselves and put themselves out there and make a name for themselves in this like historic event in that person's life, that they choose to put all of themselves out there, and this is how they want to market themselves because this is how they feel the strongest.
We just talked about two different things. You're talking about marketing oneself and getting their name out and presenting themselves and all that stuff. I'm talking about society and how we view women. It's two totally different things.
That is two different things. things.
So more power to her if that's what she wants to do. I'm just saying I completely understand people being like, what in the hell did we just watch? I thought we were making progress. I thought we were getting somewhere.
I think progress looks like giving women power back to be who they want to be, right, not who men say that they are. And so these two women chose to exercise that power in that way. two totally different women would likely choose to exercise it in a totally different way.
Also,
so I think that the conversation gets a little jumbled because the inequality of women isn't really understood.
right.
Okay.
I think that there's
At least that's my opinion.
that's a fair point. I think there's also something to be said about like the cultural aspect of these two very specific
For
women
sure.
who are very Hispanic, and like that's like it's okay. So like in Hispanic, it's like it's a non-issue, like to dress like that and perform like that because you're a performer. It's a non-issue. You know what I mean? But when you're looking at like the Super Bowl's main audience doesn't tend to be Hispanic necessarily.
Right.
So I think that's where a lot of the backlash came from. But I definitely think there's a cultural side to this that people are just like not seeing.
Yeah.
Says
that's
I.
interesting.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
specifically address my question then, Natalie. Like, how would you at least admit, as far as the societal gains that we've made in this department, did the Super Bowl show help that?
I think that's two different conversations.
I know. So it helped in some regard, but like it helped in one category, is what you're saying, but it definitely hindered in another category. So it seems like
I think all of it is perspective. I think it all depends on like who you're talking to, because a good chunk of people saw that and were like, "It's so wonderful to be a Hispanic woman in America right now," because we have this platform. Look like my entire family was lit.
AJ's family sure as hell weren't lit.
Whole nother conversation. But there was a group chat that started in my family about like how excited everyone was and how incredible the halftime show and representation. And like I think that that's a whole side to this that's not being discussed, because the people who are the loudest are the people who are like, I can't believe that she showed her ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, which in the grand scheme of things is so small and so like, it feels like a slap in the face, I feel like, because like,
oh man, it's so interesting to hear your cultural point of view, because like that's helping me understand. But I totally understand the white suburban mother of white daughters that look at this and they're like, I am appalled because I'm trying to teach my daughter that she is not just body parts.
Sure.
Like I get that. Like I get that sort of frustration.
And I get that, but that's a conversation to have. If you're genuinely concerned with like how your daughter sees herself and how your daughter understands what's being put in the media, have that conversation with her. Like if she's with you watching the Super Bowl halftime show, be like, yo, that was a crazy spectacle. What did you think about that? You know what I mean? How did that make you feel? And she probably has a ton of questions if she is a 12-year-old daughter looking at this and saying, what is happening? Because I'm sure there's layers there that I will never understand because I come from a very particular viewpoint. You know?
Hey, we're gonna drop this question on Pastor with No Answers discussion page just to get Natalie all riled up.
Bro, all I'm saying, listen, all I'm saying is like, there's definitely layers to this that are easily ignored because at a base level, it's a woman shaking her ass on TV. You know?
I will say.
What would Emily say? I'm curious. What would Emily's take?
Emily was hype. We were
hype.
We were litty in our house.
I didn't watch the Super Bowl at all, but I loved that.
My kids, and we didn't feel it necessary to like pull our kids either. Like they watched the most of it. It was like time for bed, so like they were also half getting ready for bed. But like it was because, and maybe it's because we've been exposed to those. And I'm Mexican, I'm not Puerto Rican, but I can say that we were so hyped just to hear Spanish at the halftime for the Super Bowl that and we understand too Hispanic cultural dancing and like the pageantry that comes with that, and like even in mariachi music, it's not like it's usually longer dresses, but like the sequence and like all the stuff. I think we might just have a different perspective.
I'm gonna rewatch it honestly with y'all's perspective. I'm gonna watch it again.
Yeah. I mean, it's fire though. Yo, Shakira
killed it. They're incredible performers, and
just unbelievable.
And I think that this is gonna be real rough. because I know that I have.
I can take it.
It's not you, bud. It's like I know that I have differing, probably political views and leanings than a lot of people who listen to this podcast. But in the current political climate, I think that it speaks volumes that Hispanic people took hold of the Super Bowl in 2020.
I mean, if that's the case, I love that.
I think that's a layer that is for sure being ignored. And considering the mess that was Puerto Rico and that they're trying to work out of after Maria, that they had a prominent Puerto Rican figure as like this leading the way, and having like even bringing up the idea of like Puerto Rican citizenry and citizenship with that dual flag combo, and coming out to like, I am an American or whatever. And that's, I mean, like that hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's super cool too. So from a not Puerto Rican Hispanic dude's perspective, like the other two people on that show were not U.S. citizens at all. Hard stop.
Who?
You know what I mean?
Shakira and who?
And J Balvin.
Yeah.
He's Colombian.
Yeah.
And she's Argentinian, I think.
I thought she was Colombian.
She might be Colombian too.
Quick Google
Somewhere.
search.
South
Sweet.
American.
Well,
They're both
hey,
South American.
The main
Yeah.
thing I got out of this conversation is check out Bad Bunny. Yeah, so we were actually just talking about. I had to go out back. My kids were. My wife's got a good little rigid schedule going on with the kids, and the boys were having their playtime out in the basketball court, and one of the neighbor kids was back there, and we had to I had to go back there. It's kind of awkward, but I was like, hey man, we're gonna just do the social distancing thing. I asked him how he was doing. I said, you can come back from 2 to 3. The court's all yours because the boys are gonna be doing homework. But are you taking that strict route as well?
Hey man, one thing about Southerners, man, we hate to be told what to do. if there's anything that Southerners hate more than anything, is being told what to do. But I kind of like my lungs, so yes, we are definitely social distancing. I haven't left the house for like 2 weeks, unless it's been something like really serious, which has been cool because, you know, with me being a musician, it's made things really, really good. I've been super productive. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now, are you introverted or extroverted?
I think I lean more to extrovert, but I think I'm like, what do they call it? An omnivert or something like that. Yeah. Where I'm just kind of like in the middle. Yeah.
I think a lot of people are surprised when they hear that. I mean, I'm full blood introvert. Like, and I used to not realize that. I always, because I was so outgoing. I mean, as a kid, I would just talk to strangers, and I mean, I'm not shy, I'm not timid or anything. So I just always thought I was an extrovert. But man, when I discovered that introverts need to recharge by being away from people, it was like the greatest discovery ever, because it was literally like, oh, I know how to take care of myself. I really do like people. I like talking to people. But now I know why I'm so drained after being with people for 2 hours. I mean, Priscilla and I will literally be at a party, and I'm having so much fun. But man, 2 hours, I'm ready to go, and I'll like find her sister or a close friend, say, hey, can you take her home? Because I'm heading back to the house and get in bed with my book or my Netflix. I'm like a happy man.
I'm definitely, I definitely, like for me, I can be around people that I enjoy a lot. Yeah. But if it's a bunch of strangers, I'm out of it.
Yeah.
Like I'll network, I'll find or whatever. But I'm kind of like in between.
Yeah. I hear you. So does this give you more time to create? Do you find yourself being able to do more musically?
Yeah, I've been doing that, and I've also been teaching myself stocks. So right now I'm looking up at like 3 stocks: Apple, Tesla, Microsoft. Right now it's just I've been trading. So, and it's been cool. I've only been doing it for I've been invested in a Roth IRA for forever.
Right.
But as far as like day trading and stuff like that, this is all new. It's like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So really right before quarantine, I was like, man, I should get into stocks because I ran this campaign about Black ownership in February during Black History Month. So the more I started, because I was trying to just get people to say, hey, save your money, invest in IRAs. But as I started looking at the stock market, the way that it ebbed and flowed was really interesting to me. And I was like, man, I want to learn more about that. And then it just kind of snowballed into this thing. So
that's cool, man. That's cool. Yep. Yeah. I wish I had the discipline to actually study. Well, I maybe I don't have. I don't know. But yeah, that's super interesting. I don't know if I'm a risk taker enough.
Right.
But it seems like there's certain things that you can almost, no pun intended, bet your money on for sure that
it's going to pan out. About it, man, is it's really interesting because it's the psychology of money in a sense. So like literally as I'm looking at the charts, you could literally tell how people feel about a certain stock as the chart is moving. So it's kind of been an interesting thing for me because like right now everybody's like coronavirus, the world is shutting down. And then like last week was like the lowest the stock market's been since 2008. And then this week it's been the biggest recovery we've seen in a long time. So it's like, that is just really interesting to me. Like it's extremely interesting because I love learning about people. So
yeah, totally. So like when the stock market is down, how much does, and I don't even know if I'm saying things right, how much does one stock of Apple cost when it's low?
It depends, man. Like I've seen it go all the way down to, while I've been working on it, $212 a share.
Really?
But I've also seen it go all the way up to almost $300 a share.
Yeah.
So, it what I've noticed is, as far as reduction and increase, you're probably looking at a window of about 30%.
Yeah.
In that regard, but that's my 3 week mind wrapping itself, and this would be the time I jump in when we have a global pandemic, and none of the rules are right now. Like everybody's like, this is the craziest time in the market they've ever seen, and I'm like, it's all new to me. So,
I mean, there seems to I just always assumed like there's guarantee wins as far as like Amazon, Apple, Microsoft. I just figured that all of those businesses were just at a place where stocks would be way too expensive. I didn't realize you could buy something as cheap as $200 or $300. See, that's where my knowledge is.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize. I didn't realize that. I was like, wait a minute. Now, Amazon and Google, you're looking at, $1,500 a share.
Yeah.
But, Apple, I'm looking at Microsoft. Microsoft right now is $152 a share.
Yeah.
AMD, Facebook was like $191. Boeing was $99 last week. You know what I'm saying? Could own some Boeing. So, like, for me, that's really interesting to me. Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
Sure. So what's the family dynamics like, man, at home? How old are your boys?
They're 6 and 8. Actually, it's crazy, and I feel really fortunate because I have been able to store up a certain amount of money. Yeah. Like, I'm an artist, but I'm also a business owner. I own my record label. I own a lot. So since I own a lot, I'm not depending on, like, some artists are check to check. Like, they literally live show to show. Right. So shows aren't booking them, then they don't have another source. Right. But for me, I've amassed all these different sources. Like, I've been doing music. Like, I just got a placement on TNT for, like, Black Panther. Like, it was crazy. Yeah, it was insane, bro. Like, it blew my mind.
What is it? What song is it?
It was the song called I think it was Going Up. So it's like awesome. There's all these different songs that I've been seeding into the television and film world. So that world has really been consistent.
Dang, dude, congrats,
had a song
man.
On First Take today, man. So it was good. Yeah.
You sold your first what?
I had a song on First Take today. So
gosh.
Yeah, so just like stuff like that has been able to keep me somewhat insulated from the artists. But I know a lot of artists that are like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do next month because all my shows are canceled. I had to cancel a tour. Me and Propaganda were supposed to go on tour. We'd be on tour right now, matter of fact. But
with playing a lot of the Nothing But a Word stuff.
Yep.
So what was the partnership there? I love that material, by the way. I was expecting going into it hearing a lot of lyricism from both of you. Did you do most of the music?
I did all of it.
Okay, gotcha.
So he was he had a tour date, and he had like a layover here in Nashville for a couple days for his tour. So I was just like, bro, come to the crib, like let's cook up. And man, we cooked up 7 songs in 4 days.
Dude, they're so good, man.
Yeah, bro.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah.
And I love the stuff that he talks about and how he talks about it. It's just it was pretty timely for me, honestly, as far as just how people carry themselves online and social media. But dope, man. That song, man, is definitely on top of my list, man. It's so good. So, like, do you create the instrumental track and then just give it to him and say, what you want to do with it? Like, is that how that sort of partnership works? Or do you have something already in your head that you suggest, or what?
Yeah. So I'm more of a vintage producer. And honestly, this has kind of that was kind of like a bucket list project for me in a sense. I've always enjoyed his art, and I've always wanted to be like, man, let me produce for you. But I think just because I've done so much like Southern commercial stuff, he was kind of like, I don't know. So I was like, bro, I promise. Like, I started giving him different references of people that I would see, like sounds and textures. He was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. Yeah. So we started working towards that. And for me, I'm a vintage producer in the sense that I like to be in every aspect. So like when you're rapping, I want to tell you how to say it. Like with hooks, I want to contribute to the hook. Like I want to make sure that from beginning to end that the song is kind of like, it's your vision, but that I shape it the best way that I can. Right. So yeah, pretty involved in the whole process.
That's cool, man. Yeah. I hear you just talk about that. I'm like, that's so dope.
Yeah,
that's so like
fun.
just that you have
with the dope song, the beat was totally different. So the beat that I did originally, he was in love with it, and when he finished the lyrics, I was like, this doesn't fit. Yeah. And I just literally just scrapped the whole beat and redid it, and found that sample of that Audrey poem. She's a freaking monster. Audrey Pound actually is her name. Yeah. I found a sample from her, man, and we made it we made it sing, bro.
That's cool. That's cool. Awesome stuff. People need to check that out. It's called Nothing But a Word with Propaganda and Derek Minor. So does the current state that we're in as a world, is it unnerving for you, or like you got your trust in a place with God to where you're not phased at all? Like, how's Derek Minor doing through all of this?
I'm great. Honestly, bro. I'm just like, bro, whatever's going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah, now, I need more of that. I'm
not going to feed myself to the wolves, man. I'm not going to go out and start drinking after people at restaurants, you know.
Right.
You know, somebody said a great, they said something great. It was a pastor who shut his church down right when the epidemic started, and he said, we're going to trust God. We're not going to test God. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I thought that was a really profound statement. So, you know, for me, I'm just kind of like, man, it is a bit unnerving because my wife is a pharmacist, though.
Yeah.
That is unnerving because I really worry more about her.
Yeah.
Just and not even her getting sick because, you know, we went out and bought masks instantly.
Right.
So she has masks and all that stuff, but I am concerned with just the overwhelming amount of people that are coming to the pharmacy, and some of them are just scared. They're like, they had a cough. They're like, yo, do I have coronavirus? And she's like, I don't know. You know, so you know, if anything, that is a bit unnerving. But bro, we've been doing what we doing. Bro, I've been enjoying my life, man. Like last week, me and the kids watched all 3 Thor movies. This week
nice.
we're gonna do all Iron Man. Like this is the most fun I've had with my kids in a long time. It's like a summer vacation. So it's been like for me, I feel fortunate that that's been my experience. Although I know that that's not the common experience for everyone, you know.
Yeah. I posted something on Facebook that I thought was pretty witty that I didn't come up with, but something to the point of just remember if you stay home and stay away from people and nothing happens, that's the point. And I posted that. And I posted that, and I still stand by that. But someone that I knew posted and said, that's neat and everything, but this sure is going to kill local businesses like me and my husband's. And she wasn't being a jerk or anything. And I immediately said, man, I am sorry that comes across insensitive, because I don't even think about that. That's like a nice little witty thing. And yet private business owners are like, yeah, this is killing us. It's nothing to joke around about, and there's a balance to all of it. But I'm glad that she said that, because that part of all of this really hadn't occurred to me at that time. It was like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is going to kill people's businesses that require people to come to them,
Yes. One of my best friends is a barber.
Yeah.
And it's been hard on him. I have a buddy that I know. He just got fired. I have another friend who didn't get fired, but they just put him on unpaid leave. So his choices, I mean, he's pretty much screwed, because he can't go get unemployment, because if he quits, then he can't get unemployment. But he can't get unemployment because he's technically still hired on in his company.
Yep.
So I mean, there's more bad cases I've seen than good cases. Like even just me and a buddy were talking, who's a musician. He's like, I'm good as an artist, but he's like, I feel bad for my crew, the road managers, the merchandise people, the truck drivers, the people like that, the bus drivers and all that. It's like that tour, they were expecting that for to fill their quarter. So, I'm blessed in this time, but I'm definitely aware of the people that are not. And it's always the small business owners, because the big corporations, they're going to be too big to fail. They're going to get out of that 2.2 trillion. They're going to get propped up.
Yep. Totally. Yeah, I took our family, and honestly, I read some stuff about how the virus can be airborne for a few hours, and I rethought this, but I was like, you know what? This is going to be the Svendsen family's last hurrah, because my friend owns a theater. It's actually where we have church services in, and super, super cool theater. And what he's doing is he's selling private movie showings for a minimum of 6 people, maximum of 10. And so I took my family, 4 kids, and me and my wife, and then my parents met us there, and we kept our distance from grandma and grandpa as well. But we all sat in this huge theater watching Pixar's Onward, and it was such a sweet family time. But I do think that that's probably the last time we would even do something like that, just because I want to be a contributor to taking huge strides to stay away from people. And I could see where some people would be like, yeah, you interacted with the guy at the concessions because it came with popcorn and a drink. What if another party were to have shown up, which they didn't, but what if somebody showed up for another movie, and what if it's on the doorknobs? And so I get it, but that was kind of a last party for the Svendsen family outside of the house. Now it's all going to be inside. And
I think, man, a silver lining in it for me has been, this is the most time I've been able to spend with my kids in a long time. I mean, we have summer breaks and all that, but because even the music stuff isn't rolling really, really fast right now, bro, it's been just amazing watching Marvel and like man, me and my kids, we went for a walk yesterday and just listening to them, tell me, what they've been doing all day and their dreams and all that. Like, I think this is a good time to lean into family. Because Americans, we're so like, gotta get this money, gotta be doing something, gotta be productive. And oftentimes we're not productive in our families. So, I mean, I think there's a silver lining. That might be it.
Yeah. Hey, who's your favorite superhero?
Oh man, don't tell me. Don't ask me that one.
You don't have a favorite? Nobody on top of your list?
I got a lot. I think it's gonna be Batman for sure.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have any superpowers and he's rich, and he figures it out. And I think the thing about it too is he has a code that he doesn't break. I love that about him. He's warped. His brain is screwed, bro. But like he literally has this thing, and it's like, this is my thing. I won't kill anybody. And it's like, no matter how much the Joker takes from him, like, dude is like, nah, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I rock with Batman for sure.
Yeah. I'm hit or miss. Like I am not like all on board with superhero movies. For me, they're hit or miss. And I wish I was, honestly, because there's just so much good stuff out there. Have you seen The Joker? My brother told me it's a must see.
I haven't watched it yet because
he said it's very disturbing.
Yeah, some movies disturbing. I gotta let the hype die down, and I was like, I'm gonna let the hype die down.
Yeah. Well, Derek, you just listened to some. I would say three white hip hop listeners, but in all fairness, there's the other two. They call themselves white passing. I'm learning all this new lingo from younger folks that I didn't even know there was such thing as white passing. Yeah, but those two are white passing. They're people of color, but pass for white. So
who was the guy?
John O'Hearn and Natalie Pagan, just two friends of mine. Yeah.
So one's Puerto Rican. What's the other guy's nationality?
He's half Puerto Rican. This is hilarious that I don't know, but he's half. He's half some. I'm gonna actually text him while we're talking because I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, because that's actually an interesting. Yeah, the conversation was very interesting. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah, so I'm curious. You know, as we were having that conversation, I was like, I have friends in the hip hop industry, and dude, I'm telling you, I mean, people that know me well, especially my family, it is the music that I'm listening to. It will always hover between 50 and 90% of my music intake. I mean, this is what I listen to, and I like a lot of indie rock, and I'll even listen to some old school country. Like, I listen to it all, but for the most part, I'm listening to hip hop. And you know, like I talked about, I listen to it all. And there's certain artists that can kind of maybe go too far with none of the vulgarity really bothers me except when it's involving women. And so it just has always been puzzling how far we've progressed with the Me Too movement and respecting women. It seems like hip hop artists are getting a pass. And I've heard, and it's interesting, and you heard me say that I think that Jay-Z has even said in some of his lyrics how he regrets how he has interacted with women. I think Kanye West has said similar things. Yeah. But then I'm listening to new releases of stuff, and I'm like, I can't believe they said that, and they can still make albums because everybody's not saying don't buy their work anymore.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. So I had two thoughts the whole time I was listening. Yeah. Thought number one was, man, you guys live in such a different world. Like, I would be honest, bro. Like, hip hop culture don't give a damn about no Me Too movement, bro. Like, bro, the Me Too movement is not, like, it's not gonna shut down the listeners of the people that enjoy that. You know what I mean? Like, y'all, I think the thing that you guys don't realize is that though you are big consumers of hip hop music, from in the culture, you're just observing. Like, you're a passive observer. Even white passing, like, I could tell even just the conversation. Like, just some of the key words is being said. I'm not trying to be like I'm judging in a sense, but I'm just like, it sounds like the things that, like, obviously as me as a man of faith, I feel the same way about hip hop. Like, I'm like, man, that's why I make my music. I'm not misogynist. I've never called anybody a faggot. Like, I'm all about love. Like, so what you were saying is absolutely correct. But the idea of Me Too and all those movements affecting hip hop means that you don't know who pushes hip hop culture wise. Like, you're missing the whole boat. They don't give a damn about no Me Too movement. What do folks think? Like, you gotta check out guys like Lil Boosie and all those guys. Like, that's who are the OGs that these young rappers look up to. They don't give a damn about, like, even Jay-Z, Kendrick, Cole. As much as I love Jay-Z, Kendrick, Cole, in the hood, people don't, like, my little brother is straight up out the hood. Jay-Z, Kendrick, and Cole, they don't even listen to them. Like, that's not, they don't listen to them. Like, that is for white people and educated, like, highly educated, artistic people. That's artsy. Nobody gives a, like, in the stuff that y'all are like, man, this is misogynistic. They don't give a damn about what y'all think. Like, bro. Like,
so
NBA YoungBoy, YNB Namir, those guys, that's the streets. Like, you guys never even listen to those guys because y'all are listening to, which is dope. You're listening to the in my opinion, the cream of the artistic crop. But it's like Young Thug, all these dudes that, like, those are Young Thug, Lil Boosie, like, those dudes are the OGs who's raising these young dudes. That's who they look up to. Like, a lot of these dudes respect Kendrick, Cole, and Jay, but Kendrick, Cole, and Jay they're not the voice of the generation that's saying those things.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. And I would say in the hip hop culture that you're talking about too, that stuff is not even offensive to women that are listening, because that's just.
And it's, the thing is this: if it didn't sell, if people didn't like it, it wouldn't sell. Yeah. Like, so someone likes it, right? I don't know who, but there's people that love that. But I think the thing that is being missed, as sad as it is, I think y'all are scratching at y'all are on the crust of the pizza. Like, the meat of the pizza, the pie, the whole pie is that this is how Black people often see themselves. Right. But then also, it's almost like a game in the sense that, like, a lot of these young dudes, they know that what they're saying is bad or whatever. But at the same time, it's a character that they put on to be like, yo, it's either this or I'm selling drugs, or I ain't going to work at Walgreens, or I ain't working at Walmart. Like, so, like, a lot of this is, you know, for the young people, it's just them being young and dumb. And that's what that's the thing that I hate. Like, y'all were talking about J. Cole and one of the songs he had in one of his lyrics. What you don't realize, how old was J. Cole when that lyric came out? With Chance the Rapper in that song, while you're sitting there like, oh my God, I was listening to Chance. It's like, bro, I'm like, dog, how old was Chance when he said that, bro? Like, straight out, you know what I'm saying? Urban kid, you give these kids, like, these kids come out, they explode when they're 21, 23 years old. What did you say when you were 21, 23? That you would be like, yo, if I said this in front of a million people, would I be embarrassed about it? Of course you'd be embarrassed. Because you were a kid. You were not mature. But that's the thing about it. People love hip hop's immaturity until hip hop's immaturity steps on their toes. Yeah. Until it gets in my business, then that's when I'm like, oh, wait a minute now. you know?
Yeah, I actually did an interview with Jeremiah, Jay Givens, and that's going to come out next week. And I was texting back and forth with him about this, and he said the exact same thing you just said. He was just like, dude, it's like, how old was J. Cole? Like, exactly what you just said. That I think is for sure. That makes a whole
it's
lot
like,
of
as
sense.
Consumers, and that's the thing I hate about cancel culture, is because we don't allow people room for growth. We don't take into. We say, because you're famous and popular, you are an expert in everything, and you are the most mature you've ever been. So when someone does something that's immature, we don't leave any space for growth. We just cancel them. Now, I think when people should be canceled is when they consistently troll you, or not say, like you guys did give J. Cole a caveat and say, hey, it looked like he's been trying to, as he knew better, do better. But I'm like, that's literally life. Like, life is a current state of progression. Like, there was things that I thought that when I was 21, 22, that as I look back on it, I'm like, man, I was an idiot. Like, even think about your own Christian experience, bro. Like, bro, think about what you thought when you were first a believer and then now. Like, you were probably really rigid. You were probably really legalistic. Or either the opposite. You probably were just balls to the wall. Like, but at some point as you grow, you begin to find a middle ground. And we don't do that for hip hop artists. We don't do that for black people. Like, the expectation for black people is if they're gonna have any level of leadership or power, is that they have to be perfect. Like, Obama had to walk literally the straightest line there is as far as character is concerned. While this nigga Donald Trump can do whatever the hell he want, and it's like, oh well, you know, it's a mistake, you know. It's it's like literally that he can't do anything. Like, he can't do anything wrong. But Obama had to walk this line.
It's pathetic.
That's like, my man's like,
it's pathetic. I mean, you and I, we remember how Bill Clinton was treated amongst evangelicals, and it's like, this dude is worse than anything Bill Clinton did as far as his treatment of women. But Donald Trump is our Christian president. Derek, did you know that? He's finally the answer from God. Jehovah Jireh has supplied the answer.
and here's the thing I'll say with that, because oftentimes I think, because I know that there's going to be people that's going to look at me and say, oh, he's black, so he's probably a Democrat or a liberal or whatever, which is not true. But I don't, like, with Donald, I don't have a problem. Like, to me, it's just, he's doing what Republicans do. He's just not hiding his cards. He's just like, look, I'm out here for the rich. Like, that's what I do, and that's what it is. And to be honest, I'm quite entertained by his antics at times. Like, I'm like, there's this video of him with the girl talking about she had a fever, and he like runs off the stage during a press conference. Like, bro, like, he just doesn't care. Like, he really doesn't care. And I'm like, yo, that's slightly entertaining, although it's sad in the sense that our president he's not as mature as I would like him to be. Yeah. But it's like, but it shows a juxtaposition between Obama literally was they ran out of stuff to talk about Obama. And again, to me, I think every president is just a man. But, you know, Obama, they raked him over the coals for wearing a brown suit. I remember they raked Michelle Obama over the coals for getting a doggy bag when she was leaving a restaurant, or having her shoulders out. And I'm like, he had to be so squeaky clean that's the stuff that had to be found for him. But it's like, my man Donald Trump is like, yo, I grab women by the vagina. Right. He's like, my man's like, yo, call this woman a horse face chick. Right.
Right. Yeah. But hey, he's going to save Easter for us because he loves Jesus.
Man, it's crazy.
Hey, so I'm going to try to impress you here. And I do, like, where do these artists that I listen to, where do they fall in? Because here's the thing is, I listen to so much rap. I sometimes will be listening to something and I don't even realize that they're actually big time. Lots of people are listening to them. And then there's some underground stuff where I'll go on like their Twitter thinking I'm listening to underground. They've got like, 500,000 followers. But here's some artists. Freddie Gibbs. You listen to him at all?
Yeah.
So would he fall into the don't give a damn what people think about me too, and people in the underground are listening to?
Freddie Gibbs is more of a vintage. Freddie Gibbs has been around for 10, 12 years. He's like a vintage hip-hop artist. He's like an underground hip-hop artist, which I wouldn't even think, if you're talking about youth music, I don't think he's in that. But yeah, Freddie Gibbs definitely underground. Doesn't matter what he says. There's nothing that Me Too is going to do to Freddie. Like,
Black Milk.
Oh, it's legendary. Like, yeah. You bring out the legends, bro. Freddie Gibbs, legend. Black Milk, legend.
Royce the 5'9" seems to be
legend.
somebody who doesn't give a damn about Me Too.
Legend.
Big
legend.
Crit.
Legend.
Tanya Morgan.
Right. But here's the thing you're pulling out. That's the thing. Like, so
these are some of my favorites, and I don't know what, like, how you just described hip hop, like the Jay-Z, Kanye, Cole, and Kendrick, and then you have all these underground. I don't know where these, like A$AP Rocky. He's right. on top of my list. He's top 3.
All the guys that you named are artistic. They're either underground or famous artistic rappers. Yeah. Like, hold on, you have to look up guys like Sheck West. Have you heard of Sheck West?
Nope.
Sheck West, Sheck West. YBN the Mirror. I'm trying to think. I'm drawing a blank right now, bro. It's so many.
Who'd you say? YB in the Mirror?
YB in the Mirror. Yeah. YB in the Mirror. NBA Youngboy.
Nope.
Those are the dudes that hip hop culture, like, it's those guys. NBA Youngboy, Dirk.
Dirk, I think I have heard of Dirk, but I
don't
know if
Lil Dirk, yeah. Lil Dirk, it's cats like that.
Cool. Yeah,
it's like those are the young artists that are gonna be here for the next, 10 years. They're the new Young Thugs. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's those kind of artists. Lil TJ. It's those kind of artists that are like, now if you listen to that, you're gonna get all kind of, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be crazy, you know what I mean?
I hear you. Oh, dude, this has been super fun. Some of my funnest conversations on podcasting is with Derek Minor. What's the next stuff coming out for you? Like, is there low-hanging fruit as far as the next thing that's going to be released that you have your hands on?
Man, quite honestly, bro, I'm making music for films right now, bro. That's where my bread and butter, and that's where I'm having the most fun. Like, I'm kind of giving my artistry. I'm kind of relaxing with artistry. I actually have 5 or 6 singles chilling. I don't know when I'm gonna release them, but yeah, like, bro, quite honestly, bro, I've just been enjoying life, and I'm just living life, enjoying it, and I'll get back to the artistry as far as being the main act very soon. But right now, I'm just enjoying producing and supporting my friends in their artistry. So
sweet, man.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thanks for stopping in and educating us a little bit. I love how you put that, man. These guys, they don't give a damn about Me Too.
Thanks, bro. Yeah.
Sweet.
Absolutely, man. I saw y'all brought up the baby though, but yeah, the baby's rough to listen to. I like the baby though, but yeah, the baby definitely, when it comes to women, he is definitely not a knight in shining armor. That's for sure.
Yeah. Hey, you'd get a kick out of this, man. Our sound guy at church, I found out that he listens to hip hop. So like every Sunday, when we were meeting, I'd be like, "Hey, man, have you heard of such and such?" And his eyes would just get so big because he's like, the pastor is asking me if I've ever heard of the baby. You just can't believe it, but yeah,
he's like, this is odd.
Yeah, but yeah, the baby was a little too much for me. Little too much.
Yeah, he's he's super talented. But another thing, man, he's growing up, man. Like I saw, there's a clip of, because I follow him on IG. I love him as an artist. I think he's super talented. But the baby had a Puff. I think what happened? He got into a fight with somebody. It was like a fan or something. And Puff Daddy brought him out to his mansion in LA, sat him down, and then the baby gets on Instagram Live and says, "Man, I just had a conversation with the OG Puff Daddy that changed my life." And it's like, I think people forget these guys are growing up in front of our eyes to a level of maturity that some of us have already attained.
Yeah.
And that's what I see. That's what kind of sucks. But that's also the appeal of hip hop is I don't care. I'm hardcore. That's the appeal of it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like that fine balance, you know, unfortunately.
Yep. Dude, thanks so much, man. This is awesome.
Much love, buddy.
Thank you guys for stopping in. Next week we have Jay Givens joining the conversation. He's known in a lot of, dare I say, Christian hip-hop circles, and recently has been very open about his coming out as a gay man and reflecting on his addiction to meth. So my wife and I get to talk to him, and it's a fun time. So catch you back next week.